guys next door.
Dead men tell no tales, but Brennan knows the living tell all sorts of stories.
I know that if the guys next door had anything to do with this, they're not going to keep it to themselves. If they were involved at all, if they got in a confrontation, they're going to tell their other co-workers.
Detective Apple goes to find all of the co-workers of those 3 electricians staying next door to Flanagan. Jim Steinmetz, Lance Mueller, and Trent Pisano. No one knows anything, except for a supervisor who says he does recall hearing some story about a gun going off. The details don't seem to match the Elegante killing, but Brennan perks up.
Anytime anybody tells a story, when somebody mentions something about a gun, that's the part they'll remember. The gun.
More than 8 months into the case, it's the first time anyone has ever mentioned anything about a gun.
Detective Apple thought that was just crazy, but Ken Brennan said, no, we have to go check this out.
They returned to the scene of the crime, room 348.
And they saw this indentation in the wall.
In fact, maintenance records show that the wall in Flanagan's room 348, had been repaired, but the indentation was noticeable, even in those crime scene photos.
You noticed some patching on the wall.
Yeah, so I said it's too big for a bullet hole, but let's see what it looks like on the other side.
So now you're going into room 349.
Correct.
And that's where the electricians were hanging out.
Let's go from the other side of the wall, put the dowel through the wall from where the bullet would have came from, put a laser on the end of that, see what we have.
I mean, you saw that laser.
Right.
Go through the wall.
Right across the top of the bed, right at the head of his pillow where he'd been laying.
Straight at the bed.
Straight at the bed.
Clear shot.
Clear shot. I said, Scott, this shot. At that point, we know exactly what happened. So I said, we got to get these guys.
And you think someone must have fired a gun through that wall?
Something discharged around through that wall.
But has that private eye reached too far? Remember, the autopsy never mentioned anything about a gunshot wound, the medical examiner listing the cause of death as blunt force trauma.
The medical examiner, Dr. Brown?
Yes, sir. He's been doing it a long time. He's done some real good work. He's trusted.
And what he says
Is the gospel.
Respectfully, they now have to explain to the medical examiner they're rewriting his gospel.
So you tell him your idea. At first, he's not buying it.
He's not buying it at all. And he says, hey, he says, this guy was not shot. This guy was beaten to death.
But Brennan keeps sliding the proof toward the medical examiner, all of the photos, making his case that all of that internal damage from the groin right up through the heart was caused not by a kick from someone, but from a bullet.
I go, Doc, that's a bullet hole. Come on. And he just looked and he goes, oh.
His mind was changed.
At least he was man enough that when we did show him physical evidence that was contrary to what he believed, that he was man enough to say, okay, you're right.
And while the cause of death has suddenly changed, will these men now change their stories?
I don't know, like I say. You don't think that we know the story, that we don't know what the hell went on here? Of course we know. What are you, a moron?
A private eye preparing to jolt 3 electricians into telling the truth
Just tell us what happened.
when we return.
Next, new at 11.
A woman is carjacked in a Walmart parking lot, her car ending up miles away. We have the latest on the search for the guys who did it.
And a top secret ceremony taking place somewhere in South Florida. Everything we know about Dwayne Wade and Gabrielle Union's wedding.
Obsession to be the best. Mia Hamm has always been driven by one thing: winning. Mazda has always been driven to build award-winning vehicles. So now, during Mazda's winning lineup event, you'll find 2 cars on Car and Driver's 10 Best list. And for the second year, Mazda is KBB.com's lowest cost to own brand over 5 years. Come see Mazda's most acclaimed lineup ever. What do you drive?
It's the JCPenney Labor Day sale. JCPenney credit card members save more. 20% off with card and coupon. Get an extra 25% off Red's End clearance items. Or get big buys like $17.99 Juniors and Guys Arizona Denim.